my next guest stops by because he always brings along his animal friends. And here to show us urban wildlife from around the world is our animal expert friend, Dave Mizejewski. Hi, Dave.
Hey, Wendy. So good to see you, yeah. So next week kicks off the very first Urban Wildlife Week. The National Wildlife Federation launched this campaign to raise awareness, not just about animals that live off in the wilderness, but all the different species that live close to people all around the world, because they need our help too. So it's urbanwildlifeweek.org. Check it out, because we need everybody's support.
Okay.
So let me bring out my first animal.
Okay.
It's not one you would think about living in an urban area, but believe it or not,
A baboon?
it is a baboon. This is a baby olive baboon. Hey, buddy. We're gonna give him a grape.
Can I touch him?
You can gently, let's get him
I can't
settled
hold him?
here.
Oh, no, never
Yeah.
mind.
So he's only 4 months old. These guys live in family groups.
Hi.
Unfortunately, his troop rejected him, so he has to be hand-raised by people. But
Well, their loss is our gain.
that's right, exactly. So we're able to bring him out here as an ambassador to share with you guys. But this is a species that lives in Africa, and believe it or not, these guys, when they live around, towns, they will actually, just kind of like a raccoon here, they've learned that they can go into towns, go into people's garbage cans, and they might even get into your house.
Okay.
So my message with this is that, like any animal that lives near people, we don't want them getting into our house.
Oh my gosh, he's got nails. Rambo,
Yeah.
can we have nail? Like he's got, look, he's got the black nail polish, which is the color of this season.
That's just his normal nail color.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. See how cute?
Ah.
These guys, you can really see that we're all primates, right? When you look at them.
Yes.
But yeah, so the message here is that, with any kind of urban wildlife, simple changes on our behalf will help keep them safe. Like,
right.
just shut your window, right? And then the baboons won't come into your house.
And he doesn't have a name because?
Well, because these guys are wild animals, they're not pets. You guys should never get a monkey as a pet. It's really inhumane. This guy lives at a special zoo with caretakers and veterinary care and all that. So, not a pet.
Yes.
All right.
Bye, baby.
He's gonna go back to
baboon.
mom here. He did really well.
Dave always, no, you've taught me to do really well with the animals.
Thank you for that message. So this
except
animal,
now.
You have any idea what this is?
Yes, a porcupine.
It is.
I recognize the quills.
There we go. Let's give him his banana there. So this is you don't want to touch. Definitely don't want to touch this guy.
Okay.
This is a rodent. And when we think of urban wildlife, right, we think of rats.
Yes.
Well, this is a rodent that lives in South America. It's a cousin to the North American porcupine that you probably are familiar with. This guy lives in the jungles, and here's his urban connection. When we cut down the rainforests, these animals lose their habitat. And then they're forced to come into the edges of towns, to go into farm fields and steal people's crops. So again, we need to make sure that we keep habitat for these really cool animals out in the wild so they're not forced into our cities.
So in South America, if you went out to get your mail at the mailbox, it would not be unusual to see this.
Maybe not in your mailbox, but if you were a farm worker on the edge of town and you went out, this guy might be eating your crops.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's bring out our next animal.
Okay.
While we watch him chew here, because we've got really cool animals that I want to get to.
Okay.
This third one is really, really awesome.
It's a frog.
It's a kind of frog. It's called a cane toad. Now this sucker is huge.
Do you
want to hold him?
No.
Okay. I always ask, Wendy has gotten very brave over the years.
I have.
In the beginning, she was terrified.
Yes.
See? There you go. Not slimy, right?
No, it's not slimy
Yeah.
at all.
All
Is this the one where kids get stoned on?
No, not that species, but that's the message with this guy. This is a cane toad, native to Central and South America.
Yeah.
These guys were introduced into Australia where they've invaded, like, suburbia. And the problem is, and I'm gonna tell you to wash your hands after this, now that you've petted him, because these big bumps on the side here are actually toxic glands. And so what happens is, in Australia, unless you lick it or put it in your mouth, you're fine. But, dogs and cats and sometimes little kids do put these animals in their mouth and it can make them sick. So
What is the difference between a toad and a frog?
all toads are frogs, only some frogs are toads. Toads generally have dry, bumpy skin, shorter legs. They actually walk more than they hop. Let's see if we can get them to walk.
What's this? Make them do this.
That's how they breathe. They don't have lungs the way that we do.
That thing.
Let's bring out our next animal here. They don't inhale the same way we do, so their mouths, their jaws kind of inflate as they suck air. It's kind of like a vacuum. All right, so this is an urban animal.
Nope, I'm out. Figures. So this is the one that we find right outside our door
This is
here
the
in New
North
York.
American urban animal. One of my favorite animals. This is a Virginia opossum. They get a bad rap because they're ugly.
They are.
They're not rodents, okay? These animals you want in your yard. This is an animal.
touch 'em?
Yeah, you can gently pet the back. It's just kind of like a cat, right? These guys eat venomous snakes. They're one of the only mammals that doesn't get rabies. And new research has just shown that they actually help keep tick populations down to control Lyme disease. They're actually very clean. More than any other mammal, when they get ticks on their body, they prune them off and they eat them. And so they actually, in your yard, can help keep tick populations down. So this is a great example of urban wildlife.
He's shaking. He's more nervous about us than we are about him.
Well, you know, it's kind of loud here, and so these guys,
they get nervous.
They do their job helping to, expose their species to the world.
Yes.
And so, all right, this is our last one.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, let's.
Who is this? Where is this?
This is an Arctic fox.
Okay, remember, these are urban animals, animals that, many of you can find right outside of your door if you're listening in other countries or watching in other countries, and so on and so forth.
He's gonna eat his great.
But that was the New York one right there.
Yeah, so, and it's right.
The possum.
All right, so Arctic foxes live in the Arctic. You probably don't want to go too close to this guy. He's a little skittish right now. This species you probably wouldn't see around here. You might see a gray fox or a red fox in your yard. But I've been up in Canada in small little villages doing work with polar bears. This species of fox actually follows polar bears and scavenges their kills. They do the same thing in the towns. They'll actually come into these little towns up in Canada and up in the Arctic, and they'll scavenge right in trash cans.
That's a positive thing.
Well, it's not really a good thing. Again, we need to keep our trash in secure containers. Don't ever feed wildlife. At National Wildlife Federation, we say let wildlife be wild, watch it, love it, appreciate it, never try to make it a pet. Again, this is a wild fox. It's on a leash because that's how we want to keep him safe and under control in here, but he's only about 4 months old, so.
Oh.
And he's actually changing his coat.
I like your tail.
He's turning from gray to white because they live in the Arctic, so in the winter they have a total white coat. So, Urban Wildlife Week, urbanwildlifeweek.org. Check it out and get involved.
Dave Mizejewski, everybody, he knows a lot. For more information on the National Wildlife Federation, go to wendyshow.com.